And I wanted to share with you a few clips from Franklin Roosevelt, and then we'll pick up your phone calls here. But the question that is constantly being asked, particularly in the talking heads on television, is what do the Democrats have to do to regain political power, right? What does it take? What it takes, my friends, is something very, very simple. Donald Trump showed this during the Republican primary and during the election. When Trump came out and he said, those banksters, they're killers, right? They're robbing you blind. He said he was going to do away with carried interest. Of course, he didn't. He didn't do anything about the banksters. In fact, he wants to further deregulate the banksters. But he talked about it. He said the things that got him elected. Now, the difference is Democrats actually believe this stuff and actually will legislate based on this. So you want to know, Democrats, what to do to get elected, to get and hold power? Listen to the guy who was elected president of the United States 4 times. The only person in history to be elected president of the United States 4 times in a row, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. This is 1 week before the election of 1936. He's running for re-election. 1 week before the election, and FDR is saying this about how he took on the rich.
We had to struggle with the old enemies of peace, business and financial monopoly, speculation, reckless banking, class antagonism, sectionalism, war profiteering. They had begun to consider the government of the United States as a mere appendage to their own affairs.
As they do now.
And we know now that government by organized money is just as dangerous as government by organized mob.
Government by organized money, a major danger to America. And then Franklin Roosevelt talks about what he did about this and how it was
Never before in all our history have these forces been so united against one candidate as they stand today. They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
And I welcome their hatred. And can you fade down the applause a little bit? Thank you. You can hear, it just goes on and on and on, this applause for Franklin Roosevelt. There just doesn't stop. This is like, a full, 40 seconds or so. In fact, I've clipped up part of it off. And then it comes back. They're still cheering him. They're still cheering him. They're still cheering him. Yeah. And then he says, I took on the rich people on your behalf. And in my first administration and in my next administration, I'm really going to do it. Here he is.
I should like to have it said of my first administration that in it, the forces of selfishness and of lust for power met their match. I should like to have it said, wait a minute, I should like to have it said of my second administration that in it, these forces met their master.
Met their master. And they did. He had passed Social Security. He had passed the National Labor Relations Act. Just massive changes to the American economy and the American landscape that made, really, a functional modern democracy possible. It's remarkable. So Democrats, if you want to know how to win, right? You want to know how to win an election. Talk like this. Here's FDR again. Just talk like this.
Recognition of that falsity of material wealth as the standard of success goes hand in hand with the abandonment of the false belief that public office and high political position are to be valued only by the standards of pride of place and personal profits. And there must be an end to a conduct in banking and in business which too often has given to a sacred trust the likeness of callous and selfish wrongdoing.
There you go. I mean, you know, how is that not our banksters today? And then his warning, his gentle warning to Americans. And this is so brilliant. Let me warn you about these Republicans.
Let me warn you, and let me warn the nation against the smooth evasion that says, of course we believe these things. We believe in Social Security. We believe in work for the unemployed. We believe in saving homes. Cross our hearts and hope to die. We believe in all these things. But we do not like the way the present administration is doing them. Just turn them over to us. We will do all of them. We will do more of them. We will do them better. And most important of all, the doing of them will not cost anybody anything.
Tell me this is not, I mean, that was like 1934. Tell me that today the Republicans aren't playing the same scam they were in the 1920s and the 1930s. It's amazing. John in Minneapolis. Hey, John, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that actually, you know, I absolutely agree with you about FDR. But the thing about FDR that is different from this new class of people is that he really was hated by his class, and he didn't really care for him all that much himself. He had a terrible experiences in the elite schools that he went to, and you know, I think that reflects both in him and Eleanor, who also had a very similar experience. And so, you know, it's just, I think it's the person, and we, you know, need to realize that we are all, you know, we all have the capacity, you know, to have what they call noblesse oblige. And you're absolutely right. Calvinism absolutely destroys that because it's pervasive. It's through the entire culture, and that is what is used as the ideological base for all of this, is to say, well, you know, we need this person who is redeemed. All of us are just living in total sin. This is absolutely wrong, and it was condemned when the, you know, back when the Israelites asked for a king. God said, no, you shouldn't, you know, have a king. And I think that our founding fathers realized how morally bankrupt it is to have an aristocratic class. You can read the histories of these people, and it's a horror. It's an absolute horror because they never had to earn anything. They never had to really do anything. They don't know what it's like to suffer. They have, you know, they just don't get it. But I think that FDR got it, along with other people at that time of his class. But, you know, we don't have an aristocracy, and we don't need one. We were, you know, a shining light in the whole world to bring an end to the divine right of kings and church and state. And here we are back again. We have a people in this country that believe that we should have an official church. They want to make this a theocracy, and they don't even understand what that means. You know, frankly, if they want to do all of it, you know, they should send them over to England. You know, Philip and Elizabeth can give him, you know, different kinds of cues as to how to conduct himself in public, how to do all of that. But frankly, I'd like to, you know, we fought a revolution already once, so let's just move on from it. But it is, I changed what I said. I'm sorry, but you know, you hit a chord. It's really interesting, and I don't know why people trust. They don't trust each other. They trust this strong man, this, you know, and he's pathetic. I mean, that's what's really ironic, is that they created a total fantasy. Well, there's nothing real about this.
But that's my point, John, is that the rubes, the Fox News watchers, they believe Trump because of this multi-billion-dollar right-wing media infrastructure, much like the enemies of FDR from 33 to 36 anyway. Were animated by Father Coughlin, who you know, every day.
the difference is today, you know, they have so much more control. We had a more democratic media. We had more voices to counter that at that period of time. And I think that people were different, too. They could see through that. I think that they're so brainwashed. Brainwashing is very successful. Just look at what happened in China, what happened in Russia, what happened in Nazi Germany. Brainwashing is very successful, unfortunately. And a lot of people get it that what is happening, what the real problem is, but they're locked out because now they're so entrenched in power, and we need to fight them all the way. Our whole life really depends, and the life of our children depend on, just getting rid of this whole,
oligarchy.
Regime.
Yeah. We have an oligarchy, and it was brought to us courtesy of the Supreme Court. It's just very, very simple and very straightforward.